Oh, I realized my audio might not be shared. Do you guys hear it? So I might have to stop sharing and start again. Share computer sound, okay. All right, tell me if you guys hear it now.
From a surgeon. So this video is actually going to be a quick and dirty guide to how I suture.
It's
the
really
first
faint.
video in a series of videos that are going to teach you about
I think you have
suturing,
to
suture material,
share it.
instruments, and all that good stuff. I'd like to thank the
My audio.
Oh. Wait, I think it's just your volume.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
Creations for supporting my channel by sponsoring this video, as well as sending me this suture kit I'll be using today. So what you get here is a nice little kit like that. So what you get in this kit is a pair of forceps. These are Adsons, a needle driver, scalpel, hemostats, and scissors. Perfect, right? You also get a bunch of suture and one of these pads to suture on. This is actually the old style pad. This is the new pad. It's a great little kit if you want to learn and practice at home. And the company is called Medical Creations. So let's get to it. I'm gonna pull out my needle driver here and my forceps and some scissors. And I've already opened a pack of, actually I have 4.0 silk suture. We're gonna go over the types of sutures and the needles and all that stuff later. But this one, I wanna get to the fun stuff, which is suturing. Real quick, let's talk about how to put the needle on the needle driver. You want it at about a 90-degree angle. I sometimes do a little bit of an angle forward, and that's just because my arms are triangulating the spot that I want to be. It provides a 90-degree angle to the actual incision site. So I do that sometimes. Second thing is how to hold the needle driver. You want to put your thumb and your ring finger in the needle driver, not the index here, not the index or the middle finger. The other way you can do it is, the way I do it is you palm the needle driver like that. And then that gives you more kind of like degrees of freedom because you can actually twist it like this. But when you're starting out, if you want to do those two, that's just fine. Now this is a pickup. This is an Adson pickup because it's got teeth. This is specifically for skin. So you do want to use the tooth pickup with skin. So if I'm going to try and close this incision right here, I'm going to take this needle driver and I want to put my finger as close to the tip of the needle driver as possible. That actually makes the tip of the needle driver more steady and thus the needle more steady. And the more things that you can rest your hands or elbows or wrists on, the more steady you're going to be. I twist my wrist like this and I get the needle so it's going in about 90 degrees to the skin. Once it's in the depth that I like, I twist my wrist, okay, and I see the needle come out. You can close incisions with 1 or 2 bites, and this one I'm gonna do 2 bites. And notice what I'm gonna do here is pull the needle out just a little bit, and then I'm gonna grab the needle exactly where I want to grab it for the next bite. And that is about 2/3 back and at the tip of the needle driver. 2/3 of the way back on the needle. And now what I do is, since I have this exactly where I want it, this is what's good about palming, is I pull it up slowly, right? I twist, and I'm actually ready for the next bite. There it is. And notice I am palming, which is why I can make this move. Once I put that in the second side, I can go ahead and pull this out. Now I don't have to really hold the needle with my forceps. The reason is because once you put the needle in the tissue should stay stable unless the patient's moving all around. And second, it'll stay stable if you hold it with the forceps. So you want to hold the tissue actually with the forceps and not the needle with the forceps. And if you hold the tissue in place and let go of the needle should stay right in place. And so then you can pick it up again. Now I can pull it out a little bit again. I'm gonna grab it right where I want the needle driver to go for the next bite, but I'm not gonna actually do next bite because we're gonna tie this. And so here's another tip here. A lot of students I see, we have this long suture here. A lot of people like pull this way high, right? You're gonna touch your face, you're gonna hit somebody else's face. If you're in a real procedure, you're gonna make it unsterile, you're gonna lay this suture way out somewhere else that's not sterile. So here's a little tip here. What you can do is you just put your forceps right in here, okay, and you pull this along. And you want to pull this suture down till you got a few centimeters out there and the suture is sticking straight up. That's gonna help later. So then I'm gonna let go of the needle with this hand. Now, the needle is not really that dangerous when it's not attached to something. If it's attached to this, you can poke somebody. So as long as the needle is like dangling, then typically it doesn't really cause any damage and won't poke through anything. So what I do here is I grab usually a couple palm lengths or so, and I'm also palming the forceps with my left hand. Okay, this is for right-handers. And all I do is just put the needle driver in between the tail and the length of the suture. And the first one, I usually do 2 wraps. So this is pretty typical. Notice how much length I have. A lot of students, they make a mistake, they go like this. And then they don't have anything, it's tight, and it's gonna get caught in these jaws. When you open it up, it gets caught, or it gets caught in these back here. Make a big, nice loop. And then when you bring it in, okay, I kind of brought around the back, I start to make that loop. And then look how big that loop is. And then I make another loop and it's nice and big. And then I grab this tip here, which is sticking straight up for me. And then I bring this across and I pull this through, okay? And then I lay this down and you pull it a little bit tight, not too tight, just approximating the tissue. You don't want to strangulate the tissue. To set this suture so it doesn't come out for my next throw, I pull it like this. Snap it like that. And even you can set it up in the air a little bit so that way it's not laying on the skin. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my needle driver between the long end and the tail again. And I'm gonna make this big old loop. I don't care if it's too big, but I don't want it too small. And then I'm gonna pull it through. And this will then secure that. Now I'm going back and forth and I'm gonna make a square knot. So now I'm gonna go this way. I didn't put it up in the air, right? Bang. Boom, boom, back and forth. Okay, I got a little, maybe too much there. But that is essentially simple suturing. Now this is what we call a simple interrupted suture, or knot, stitch, I guess. And there are lots of different types of sutures and knots and stitches, and we're gonna go over those in my other videos. But I'm just gonna do a couple more for you to watch, and I'll point out a few other things. So I palm it. I can get more rotation when I palm it. That's why I do that. Your attendings might not like that at the beginning, and so you might have to put your thumb and ring finger in there, but practice palming at home, okay? And now I'm gonna do just one bite across here. I'm gonna turn it up. There we go. Okay, it didn't come out very much there, and I don't have to hold this tissue with this thing, but you might have to hold the tissue to keep the needle in the same spot. So if I hold the tissue with this, I pull this across, I steady this side of the tissue, this needle's not going anywhere. Then I'm gonna pull it out just a tad. So I'm gonna go right about there, because 2/3 of the way back is where I wanna grab it, right there. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull it through. And this, well, that's what happens when you palm it sometimes, trying to be fancy. And I can do this maneuver. This is a long suture. Typically you don't use suture this long, but it's good that it comes in this kit because you can practice more. So the other thing that you want to do is really you don't want to touch the needle too much, because the more you touch it, the more chance you have to poke yourself. So what you can do is actually grab this suture here or by your finger and raise it up, and then set the needle in a place that you think you can pick it up. In fact, you can just grasp it a little bit, not clamp it all the way down. Okay, and then turn it a little bit if you want to. And so this is gonna be a figure 8 suture stitch. We're gonna do 2 of them right next to each other. This is used for a lot of time for ligating a blood vessel. Put the blood vessel right in the middle there. I also use this for my abdominal incisions, the port sites for like a 12mm port for a laparoscope. So it's called the figure 8 because we're gonna make an 8 out of it. See, that looks like an 8, almost. More like an X, but you know what I'm talking about. Snap this there, pull it up in the air, put the needle driver in between the 2. I already did 2, right? Okay. Oh. Right, snap it down. With silk, you don't necessarily need to do a lot of throws. Typically, most people say 3 for silk and 4 for Vicryl. I do usually 4 and 5. Extra safety. I'm doing just some more just to watch, so you can watch. And you don't have to go back and forth with silk because it's a polyfilament suture, which I'm going to talk about in the other videos as well. You can if you want. So, okay, that's a lot. You don't need that many for reals. Okay, that is the basics of suturing. Now you know how to do it. I'm gonna talk about hand tying and different types of sutures and things like that in the other videos. So go check out those videos and I'll see you in the next one. Anyway, that is how to suture from a surgeon. That's the quick and dirty, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment below. Thanks you guys so much for watching.
Well, not letting me exit full screen. Okay, here we go. Well, that was in depth, but I think he gave us a good overview. Okay.
What's up, you guys? What's up, you guys?
All right, so now we're gonna divide us into breakout rooms. Kelly, did you do them all, or do we still need more time?
I'm just waiting on one med student isn't here yet, but if you want to do introductions, Oscar and Ori, are you here? Yeah, two of them are here to do the introductions.
Okay. Oscar and Cecilia. No, Ori and Cecilia, if you guys wanna speak.
Cecilia's not here, I think, yet. Orid and Oscar are here.
Okay, Ori and Oscar, cool. Feel free to introduce yourselves and say your like med school year.
Hey guys, I'm Orit. I am a 4th year. I just matched into general surgery at MGH.
Hey everyone, my name is Oscar. I'm a 2nd-year medical student interested in orthopedic surgery.
All right, thank y'all. We can wait one more minute for Cecilia.
Actually, I think it would be easier
Easier with what?
if I actually, would this work? Let me see. Sorry.
Is there a way we can go from 2 breakout rooms to 3? Would Zoom let us do that?
Yeah, can Oscar or Ori, can you guys text Cecilia if that's possible to see if she's coming?
I can try to find a way to text her.
Okay.
Yeah, minute.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess for um okay, have them sort of set up. I just am waiting on Cecilia to assign her.
Okay, I can send her an email and we can wait until like 4:25.
Yeah.
Come along, but we'll see.
Sorry guys for the wait. But while you guys are waiting, you can like try and get acquainted with your suturing kit. Like open it up and like make sure you know what each item is. That might be like help things go smooth.
Also, Kelly, I was trying to link it in the chat, but since I'm screen sharing, it like, because I'm screen sharing like my Google Slides, so it won't let me like go to YouTube.
Yeah.
So if you could find the link, I can send you.
Yeah, if you text me the link, then I can do it. That's easier. I don't know.
All right, I just sent you the link.
That should be the link. Um, were you guys able to get in contact with Cecilia? Did she respond possibly?
I texted her, but haven't heard anything back yet.
Okay. Maybe I think I'm. Okay, maybe we'll just do 2 for right now, Tempest.
Okay. I also just texted Malcolm, so he might be able to get in contact with her as well.
Okay, do you think we should wait till 25?
Yeah, we can wait till 25. We can end the breakout rooms at 5, so it's still 35 minutes. Yeah, so it's still 35 minutes. And then announcements should not take long at all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. All right, let's go ahead. Yeah, let's just do 2.
Let me just. Now I have to. Okay. I'm gonna open the rooms now. Oh, yay, I think it's working.
Wait, Kelly, did you put me in a room?
I don't think I. Oh, I did. Oh, you were in room 2.
Oh, maybe I should stop sharing.
Yeah. I could just move you to the room. Do you want me to do that?
I see the message now, so I can join it.
Oh, okay. Chioma and Elizabeth, do you guys not get assigned?
Yeah, I'm still finding people in, but like I can.
Oh, okay.
Me in like 2 years.
like has their kits or has questions, we could start it any way that you guys want. I introduced myself earlier. I'm a 4th year going into general surgery in a couple months. So happy to talk about any of that. I can't see any of your faces though. Hi. Does everyone have their kit? Sorry if you can hear me opening mine right now. All right. Are most people here in the last year, 3rd year? Where's everyone at in juniors and seniors? Juniors. Everywhere. Okay, everyone. Everyone's excited to suture. Cool, cool.
Hi, Orit.
Hi, Tempest. Yeah, do you have a way that you'd like me to start, Tempest, or should we just?
Oh, no. This is all you. Don't worry.
Okay. Who here has like tried to suture with the kits that they got?
Just now doing video.
Anyone?
A lot of people just got them today, so I feel like this is like the first introduction.
First introduction. Okay. So we can start with just like what these tools are, if everyone has them. So when I started surgery, I did not know that I even wanted to do it. So getting into the operating room was just like a very foreign experience, like trying to scrub and like understanding like where you're supposed to stand and what you're supposed to touch because everyone's so particular. But I think some of the helpful things that we had were like these labs and these suture practice days during our clip that kind of just showed us like, this is a needle driver and this is what will hold your needle for you. And then you'll use your other hand to with your forceps, or what we'd call pickups. And so we would practice on like pig's feet. You can practice on at home. You could practice on like banana peels or really anything that has like a skin or a thick skin to bring it together. So how many people have like a basic understanding of like where to start, how to hold the needle driver or anything like that, that you want to share with the group? There's a no judgment zone. None whatsoever. That's where I started. Awesome. Okay, so we can start with then the needle driver. So this, best way to hold that, you'll have it facing forward. You'll put your thumb into one of the holes, ring finger in the other hole, and then you'll use your index finger to stabilize. Everyone got that? Unfortunately, most of these instruments are built for right-handed people. So if you're left-handed, you kind of just have to get used to the motion of holding it with your right hand. And the reason why it's directional is that your thumb, one of the things you can start to do is try to practice to close and open. And the hardest part is that you have to push with your thumb while you pull with your ring finger. And that's how you open. So you'll snap it closed. And then if you practice pushing with your thumb and pulling with your ring finger. And that's kind of the motion. And one thing that I like to do to kind of practice when I'm sitting there, just do that motion over and over. Because when you're suturing, you'll do a lot of grabbing, letting go, grabbing, letting go. Everyone able to lock all the way and open? How does it feel? It really hurts after a while. Okay, and then, so what the big part about suturing is that you're doing, yes, so your pointer finger in the chat, if you see the question, or it's, do you stabilize with your pointer finger? Yes, you'll use that here. So what we learn when we're suturing is that all of the motion is going to be turning of the wrist. So you're not going to be moving you won't keep it straight and like move your elbow to do things. You want to keep your elbows close to your side and you're doing turning of your wrist. And now with your forceps, this, I know a lot of people, like when I first started, I'd want to grab it like this, or, you know, grab like some, just in a way that like wouldn't be as economical, but you place it in the groove of your finger and you hold it just like a pencil. So most of the work is being done by your index finger and your thumb, but have it resting right in the groove of your finger. So this will be in your left hand, this will be in your right hand. Everyone got it? Can I see everyone's hands who has tools? Nice. Cool, cool, awesome. And that's one thing that we'll have to, Tempest, I think you have yours upside down, hold with the end on resting on your groove of your finger. So I'd flip it. So there you go. Nice. Everyone else got it? And it's really easy that once, because you'll be dropping your forceps sometimes, to pick it up and like hold it with the end pointing in your palm, but you always want to make sure it's resting in between the little groove between your thumb and your index finger. So got your forceps, got your needle driver. Okay, now what do we do? So we'll start with our needles. And you can pick any, what need, we have silk, we have nylon. So silk is something, there's different types of sutures that are absorbable and non-absorbable, and I'll tell you where in the body you use it. So typically for inside the gut and things like that, when we're tying off vessels, that's probably the only time that I've seen silk used, because this does not dissolve. When you see monocryl, or if you see vicryl, which is used on the skin, that's going to dissolve and it'll go away. So no more of like the cutting out the sutures or things like that. Occasionally in like in plastics or their like surgical fields, they will close with something that's not absorbable and someone will have to come back and cut them out. And you'll see this in the ED usually, but when I'm on like a general surgery rotation, I very rarely use skin to close, or silk to close skin. Okay, so we open these, and typically you'll have a nice way to be able to grab it. So you have your curved needle, they're itty bitty here, and you'll have this pointing to the left. And you'll grab your needle driver, and you'll have thumb on top, forefinger on bottom, and you want to load it. So when we say load it, we want to grab it with the tip of our needle driver about halfway in the needle. Can you guys see? It's about, oh, I have to be like an influencer. Halfway between. And it's pointing to the left. This is loading your needle by your forehand. You'll have your forceps in this hand. And everyone have a good grip on the needle. Can I see by any chance? I'll try to see. Yep, that looks good. Looks good. I think Nicole, you might have it too low. So you want to grab it just at the tippy end of your needle driver. Do you see this? Look. Tippy end. Yep. Cool. Okay. So this is our forehand, and the motion is really just turning your wrist when we're starting to suture. Okay, so we have our skin. I unfortunately don't have a third hand, so I can't hold my forceps, but you would be holding your forceps. When you go in for, this is a simple suture. So a simple suture is just what you see called a baseball stitch. So those ones where you can see the suture go across and have like a little knot at the top. That's a baseball suture, and we'll use that typically, again, only in the ED, because it's a very quick, like if someone gets a lac on their face or any other parts of their bodies, you just kind of suture it up, we'll cut it out later. It's not very cosmetic because it doesn't absorb. Again, it's like a thick suture that you use. But so you have your incision, and you have the left and the right side of your incision. When you go in, again, with the turning of the wrist, you want to turn your wrist so that the needle is pointing on, you're like touching the skin with your needle. So it's perpendicular. Does everyone see that? And the only thing you have to do then is turn your wrist and you'll come out in the incision. So you start a bit out, say like almost a centimeter out from the incision, and then turn your needle, turn your wrist so that you're coming out into the incision. Can you see that? And what you would do with your forceps, which I can't show you because I don't have another hand, is that you'll be grabbing to kind of help you see into the incision. Can you guys see that? Does that make sense? So now we've gone through one. I wonder if I can turn this so you can see below. Yeah. Can you guys see that, or is it just awful? There we go. Okay. So you've gone through one side of your incision. You'll use your forceps to grab your needle, if you can with these forceps, and bring it all the way through. And you'll reload your needle in the same way that you did before. And this time you'll go from the inside of the incision out about the same distance that you went in on the other side, and grab with these forceps that don't grab, and grab the needle again and pull all the way through. Can everyone see that? I have no idea what happened on your screen. So at the end, you'll have your string going through both sides. So you'll come in through a centimeter, coming out of the incision, go in the incision, come out on the other side. Yeah, so what you'll do with your forceps is with my left hand, it'll help you, if this was skin, hold the skin flap where you're about to go in. So you'll hold this, gives you it gives you tension, and so it doesn't really move. And then with your right hand, you will put in what's called a bite into the flap of skin that you're holding onto. And then when you go on the other side, you can grab the other side, show yourself the inside of the incision, and then drive through from the inside to the outside. And so at the end, you have your string going all the way through. Is this too basic for people? I apologize if I'm explaining something you're like, I know how to put this through. Okay. Has everyone been able to throw this first stitch? Awesome. And now, how much of tying have we gone through? Have you guys learned like the difference between a two-hand and a one-hand? Awesome. Okay. I wish I had thicker string to show you guys with. Can you guys see my string? Okay. So you've thrown this stitch and now you want to tie it. What you want to usually start out with is a two-handed knot. So you have your string crossed. And what you'll do with two-handed knot is have your fingers like finger guns. Grab the string with your 3 fingers with both hands. So 3 fingers, string in both hands, finger guns. Got it? Can I see everyone's?
Are we supposed to be holding it with our I forgot what this is called, our clamp, and doing the finger guns?
So the needle driver at this point you can drop all the way.
Okay.
You'll be tying, this is a hand knot. So if we want to do a needle driver knot, I can show you guys that too. So you have 2 hands, three fingers, awesome. And now your first knot, this is an index finger throw. So you're going to take your finger guns, you're going to point them down, and point them back up so that the string is now looped around your finger. Everyone get that looped around your finger? So finger gun straight, down, loop. And you'll have the string kind of running across your index like that. Now you have your other string. You'll take him across the finger pad. So you'll have him crossing in an X across your other string. Everyone get that? Over the finger pad, you'll take your 2 finger guns, make a pincer, and go and point up. So you want to like pincer up. Everyone see that? So you have it crossed across your finger pad, a little X. Put your index and middle finger together, pinch upwards, grab your string, pinch downwards, and now you have a knot. Too fast? Too fast. Okay, let's start again. Let me see if I can find my earphones. Okay.
At this point, have you like dropped the needle? Like, is the needle on?
The needle's still on, so you want to be careful.
All right.
But you drop it so that it's loose. Usually a loose needle is not as terrible as long as you don't clamp onto it. So if I show you with the thicker string, 3 finger grab on this, 3 fingers over here. I go loop over. Not very strong. Cross with my other one over my finger pad. Everyone sees that. And then you pinch, loop it under, loop it through, and then you get a knot. How's it working?
I got lost at the crossing part where you made the X.
Let me see if I can do that again. I have my hands ready. Is everyone able to cross it around their finger, loop it around their finger? Okay, and now, so you'll take this one, and if I show you like this, you'll cross it over like this. So it's over, making an X over your index finger. And then your 2 fingers will come together. Go upwards to grab that string that you just crossed over and brings it back through that hole. Anyone able to get it? This is one of the hardest things to do over Zoom. It's so difficult to show without giant strings. Okay. And these terrible earphones that have multiple strings. Okay. Finger gun. Over. Make an X. So everyone see how you made kind of like a loop by putting and making an X over your index finger? See the X? And then you'll make a pinch so that you're able to just go in and out through that hole. But you want to go up, grab it through. And then it'll go down. Alternative, and then hopefully one day we can do this in person, is to do a knot with your needle driver. This one, if I can point downwards again, you've just made this is when you need a webcam. Can everyone see my string? Okay. So with this one, so we can avoid all of the hand motions, you just made you just threw a bite across and you want to tie it down. So you take your string and you take your needle driver and you just wrap it around twice for your first one. Can everyone see how you wrap around the string? And then you'll take your needle driver and you'll grab the other side of the string on the other side of the incision and just loop this over. So you pull it all the way through. Pull it all the way through. And then you have a knot. So if I show you again, needle driver, you just kind of have it closed. You're not doing really much with it other than using it as a thing to loop around, grab your string end. Usually it's shorter. Unfortunately, this one's not. But you grab your string end, bring it through. Usually this is a lot shorter because you'll cut it. And go down. Did that one make sense? The needle driver knot will be used, so the hand knot you'll use whenever you are closing. You can use it at any point, really. You can do it whenever you're suturing and you want to tie and cut. So for example, if you're closing skin and you're doing an incision, you can do, and you're like, I have a lot of string, I'm just going to do a hand knot because I have enough room to tie with my hands and cut. The needle driver knot is most helpful when you're at the very end of your string. And so you only have like an itty bitty tail and you're like, I can't really grab those with my hands, but I can grab it with a needle driver. So you'll like wrap and then you're able to just grab an itty bitty end and pull it through. But usually you'll be tying one-handed knots, which we haven't gone over today because usually you want to master the two-handed knot first. And then one-handed you can do pretty quickly.
Also, when in your medical journey did you get the most suturing practice?
Definitely on my rotation. So you'll have some during a clerkship or in those didactics, but when you're actually in the operating room as a medical student, the one thing that you really can do is to close the skin at the end. And so a lot of your practice will come from there. And you'll also realize that everyone does it very differently. So you'll learn very different things. But the basics of just knowing a simple suture is something that will be helpful on the ED. A running suture is what you'll probably do most often. And then another thing called a deep dermal is probably the third thing that you'll do. So there's about three main ways to close skin. And you'll get that practice if you're in the operating room, if you feel that.
So are people teaching you or are you learning on your own?
You're taught. So you're taught the basics by your clerkship directors. And then when you're in the operating room, you're usually working with a resident, usually an intern is left to close with you, and they'll watch you and they'll tell you like, this is how I hold it. This is how this is how I found it to be easier. These are the things that you can improve on. And so your resident will really be the person that helps you improve over time. Anyone get a successful suture? Yeah? What general questions do you have about either surgery, any of the things that we went through just now, medical school, if that's what you're interested in? All of the above.
I guess this is a weird place to start off at, but when it comes to suturing, I sometimes seen videos or just in general, I've seen pictures of like oranges where essentially the fruit inside was removed, but the shell itself was like brought back together. Does that have anything to do with it, or is that something completely like off task?
I could see someone trying to peel an orange really well and then suture it back together. I've never done it, nor have heard anybody. I think it'd be really good practice though to kind of just run a really irregular like incision line and then get back to like a circle if that's what they're trying to do for suture practice. What I typically see is people doing banana peels, so like cutting a bunch of incisions into banana peels and suturing those. Some people are like really extreme and will like go buy like tripe or like chicken breasts or things like that to kind of simulate fixing bowel or fixing more what you'll actually encounter in real life, which is a lot slippery. It's like many layers and it's very slippery. And so anything that mimics that is usually helpful for real skin.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Orange peel would be rough, but it's practice. Practice is practice.
Yeah.
One thing that I found helpful, there are a couple videos, I think you guys just watched one too. There's like one by a Duke's plastic surgeon, and he goes through really basic sutures. He'll be like, this is a running suture, this is a simple suture, and to like watch those and see someone go through it pretty slowly and then trying it with some of your tools here, which will be different, but in terms of how it feels, et cetera, but it's really helpful to kind of just watch it over and over again and then practice for yourself.
Also, I was just wondering, what made you choose surgery?
Yeah, so I came in late. I did a lot of public health stuff, but in the end, I really enjoyed the fact that like you're always working with a team. It's not a lot. Some of medicine can be a little bit isolating, like you're always doing consulting with other colleagues and things like that. But in the operating room, you're literally like standing next to your attending, you're standing next to your resident, and you all are focused on one person, and you're all kind of learning at that moment. Like everyone's actively learning. You're going to be better than you were like before you walked into the OR. So I felt like I just got a lot out of the day, and I felt like the patient got a lot of focus and like a lot of attention for those hours, especially when you're in the OR.
Do we have enough time to do another knot? We have like 6
Yes.
minutes.
Let's do another knot. I cut my needle. Let's do another one. You all have nylon. You want to do a simple suture again? Another simple. Okay. All right. Let me see if I can fashion this so you guys can actually see me throw a suture. There we go. I can't see myself nor you guys, but if you can see me, can you shake your head? Yeah? Okay. So we have our needle. Needle driver, thumb, forefinger, stable. You're going to load it grabbing it with the very tip of your needle driver about halfway on the needle. So, right, like that. And you'll have your forceps held like a pencil in your left hand. Let me see. So you'll grab one side of your incision, so the right side, closest to your right hand. You're going to turn your wrist so that your needle is perpendicular to your skin. And then you'll just turn your wrist and you'll come out just on that side of the skin. Can everyone see how I'm only grabbing through the right side? And then you'll use your forceps to grab your needle sometimes. You're going to reload. So back to where you were halfway through. You'll grab your left side of your skin edge right across from where you came out. Can everyone see? Grab the left side. Sorry for those messages. And perpendicular, but this time you're on the inside of your incision. And you'll just turn your wrist and you come out about the same distance on the other side. And come all the way through. How'd that go? I locked my string. So now we're all the way through and we want to tie. I have my 3 fingers, wrapping it over my index, throwing it over the finger pad, grabbing, pulling through, laying down. Or if we want to do an instrument knot, instrument tie, wrap around, grab what is usually a short end. This will not be a short end because we haven't cut anything. Pull it all the way through and tie that down. And then you'll just do this and you'll cut your needle. So simple sutures, you'll like do a, taking a bite, tie it, and then you'll cut it about 1 centimeter. So then you have kind of these little interrupted sutures. So if we do that again, you load your needle halfway through, tip of your needle driver, forceps like a pencil. Grab the right edge of your skin, go perpendicular, turn your wrist, come out inside the incision. Use your forceps sometimes to grab it. Pull it through, reload your needle. You want to flip your hand back, reload it, it's pointing to the left. Grab the left side of the skin. This time you go in through your incision and come out through the skin. Grab that and pull all the way through. So you'll have this. And now that I've cut my string and it's a little bit shorter, the needle driver will be much easier to use to tie. So wrap it around, grab the end, pull it through, wrap it around. You'll do like usually 3 or 4 knots depending on the type of string. For really thin string, which is called monocryl, you'll do it 5 times because it's easier to slip. This like braided, what's called braided silk is less likely to slip, so you can put in usually 3 knots, but for practice, you can put in as many as you would like. Any questions about like, what do I mean when I say bite, when I say go in through the incision, out through the skin, et cetera, et cetera? Does that make sense? What else? You have the type of silk, you have the type of incisions. You can get fancy. I think some of the introductory videos showed like a figure 8. So figure 8 can be used. It's like pretty strong in terms of its hold. So it's used if you're making a big laparotomy, like a big stomach incision, and you're closing fascia, which is like lower than your muscle. And you really want that to come together really well and not move and heal all the way. Otherwise you'll get a hernia. So it'll open up and like stuff will come out. So when you do that, you'll typically do a lot of figure 8s with this very strong suture that does not absorb, and it'll keep it close together. This you'll do if it's like, oh, I cut my forehead, I like fell on the ground. I just need it closed for like healing purposes so you don't have a big gash in your forehead. This is what you'll use. Do you also enter prepping? Yep, always enter any time that you're about to throw into the skin. You want to make sure that your needle is perpendicular. So always like needle touching skin and then turning. And then when you want to cut, you want tightly bound your, that's a really good question as to how much you want the 2 incision sides to touch. So what we don't want anything like too tight, otherwise like you're constricting blood flow, and that means it won't really heal. You want it enough so that the edges kind of turn up, they evert, and they're touching each other. So just enough so that they touch, but they're not like pale because they're so tightly bound. Very good question.
Hi everyone. Sorry to cut you off. From my end, I can't close or send any messages to the breakout room, so I just decided to join. And just to let you know, like, if you guys can wrap up like within the next minute and be back in the main room at like 5:04 or 5:05, that would be great. Thank you.
Awesome. What other questions? Anything else? It can be about anything, surgery related, suture related.
Thank you so much for coming and facilitating this workshop. Would you be willing when we get back to the main room to drop like your email so people can contact you if they have questions?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely send my contact. How do you get used to the gory parts of surgery? Do you get used to it? Some surgeries gorier than others. Like some things have, everyone has like their ick. Like for me, the ick was like orthopedic surgery. Like I'm just not into like limbs moving ways that they shouldn't move. And it's like not very delicate. But I think after a while you kind of normalize it. Like you forget that you're there like working on like bowel and things like that. And you like are like, this is really cool. I'm just like suturing different things together. And you kind of, it becomes normalized after a while. But definitely at first you're like, that's unnatural. But it turns out to be okay after a while. Yeah.
I guess like one, I'm not too sure is another one. I was just wondering, have you ever done like heart surgery before?
Hopkins, I have not done any, I have not been part of cardiac procedures. I've watched a bypass, which is when they take an artery from the leg and then they use it to bypass parts of the heart. So to create new blood flow. That's pretty gnarly. I have not, if you want to talk to somebody who's done that, I do know somebody who's worked on the cardiac unit. I've done cancer, so like hepatobiliary cancer, so pancreatic cancers, Whipple's. I've not done, I've been a part of them. Colorectal surgeries, orthopedic surgeries, and plastic surgeries. If you have any questions about those.
All right, guys, it's 5:05, so I'm leaving the breakout room to go to the main room just so we can do like our closing remarks and announcements.
It was a pleasure.
Thanks, everyone.
Kelly, can you enable screen sharing just so I can go to the announcement slide?
I'm not a host anymore. Sorry, I don't know. Maybe my Zoom. It's just my Zoom.
I
Oh,
enabled
yeah.
it now.
I'll just wait till everybody trickles back in. But thank you to our med students. Oscar, I told Ori, but if you could put your email in the chat so people would be able to reach out to you just in case they have any questions. But thank you guys so much for facilitating this event. Hopefully in the fall or next spring, we can do this in person. So it's like a more interactive process. But as far as future announcements go, AMEC is happening next weekend. So if you're registered, stay tuned for an email from SNMA. So they should be sending you a link to access the portal for the conference. We're really excited about that. Also, elections are happening now. So if you received the email indicating you are eligible to vote, be sure to submit the form with the people you want by Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Also, keep up with us on our socials for future updates. This includes our group me and our Instagram, because that's where we really get to communicate with you guys and tell you what we have going on. But thank everyone so much for coming, and have a great rest of your day. Oh, Niat, Kelly, do you guys have anything else?
No, I didn't have anything else.
All right, great. Thank you guys. Oh, also the video, I can send that in an email, or I can send it to the group me.
Thank you.